The new world order beyond that is officially becoming everyone gets to do America shit now in their own way, in their own backyard. And it is definitely a scary meta. All right, we'll get started on why two nuclear powers are on the brink of war, okay? India versus Pakistan. It's time. Hold on 1 second.
The Kashmir conflict has shaped South Asian geopolitics for more than 7 decades. The struggle between India and Pakistan over the territory has led to multiple wars, and the area is now one of the most militarized in the world. India and Pakistan are once again on the brink of all-out war, but to understand the present tensions, you need to go back in time. Let's rewind to 1947. This is what the map looked like when Britain partitioned its former colony. Pakistan, with a Muslim majority, was created in the west, and India to the east with a mostly Hindu population. War quickly followed in October. The Hindu ruler of the Muslim majority Jammu and Kashmir originally sought to remain independent, but when Pakistani militants invaded Kashmir, he appealed for Indian military help. The ensuing war lasted until an armistice was implemented on the 1st of January 1949, splitting Kashmir into 2 parts. Tensions continued, though, with the Second Indo-Pakistan War in 1965, again over a border dispute, and the last conflict in 1999. But by this point, both countries had gained atomic weapons, raising fears of a nuclear confrontation. Since then, both sides have continued to face off over Kashmir, with accusations of Pakistani support for terrorists, something Islamabad denies. The Mumbai attack was by far the most devastating, known inside India as its 9/11. In 2008, 166 people were killed over 4 days when 10 heavily armed gunmen arrived by sea from Pakistan, unleashing a coordinated wave of terror. The latest confrontation began 2 weeks ago after another barbaric terror attack, this time in India-administered Kashmir. A popular tourist destination was targeted, 26 people killed. One assailant reportedly told a survivor, "Go tell this to Prime Minister Modi." The calculated targeting of tourists appeared designed to provoke a strong Indian response. The attack was blamed on a group calling itself the Resistance Front, and it has links to Lashkar-e-Taiba, the same organisation behind the Mumbai attacks. India has long claimed LET is used as a proxy, something Pakistan denies. It says New Delhi has failed to show any evidence of complicity. India says its response has been measured and is not escalatory. But by striking compounds in the Pakistani heartland of Punjab, it's not being seen that way by Islamabad. Pakistan is calling the airstrikes an act of war. The main worry for the world and the region are the nuclear missiles aimed at each other. Pakistan has around 170 and India has 164. But even if the tensions are dialed down, as we've seen throughout the history, the underlying causes of the Kashmir dispute, steeped in unresolved colonial legacy, will remain and could break out at any time.
Moving on to other news today that we have to get to, including new fighting between 2 nuclear-armed powers, India and Pakistan. We are now seeing the damage after India bombed sites inside Pakistani-controlled territory last night. This was in response to a recent...
Check my previous messages. This is a huge oversimplification of Kashmir. Hari Singh basically treated the Kashmiris as serf slaves, as I mentioned last time I was on the show. Yes. Arun and myself had a long conversation about this. You can find it on my YouTube. It was very enlightening. It was very informative. And it was also contrary to what you normally see. Contrary to what you would normally see in mainstream news, it was Kashmir-centric. Like the focus of the story surrounded the Kashmir population rather than Pakistan or the Indian interests, like the interests of the Indian nation. I don't know where this goes. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where this is going to head, but considering that these are both two nuclear armed nations. I feel like it can't escalate beyond this, even though I do feel as though right now we are entering a new meta. We are entering a new territory where international human rights, or even like military international human rights, is in the pooper. Okay. Previously, it was only America that got to violate international human rights, and Israel by extension of America, and sometimes other allies of America, as long as like the people that they were killing were powerless, right? The new world order beyond that is officially becoming everyone gets to do America shit now in their own way, in their own backyard. And it is definitely a scary meta. Like what India did in retaliation to Pakistan is crazy. You can't just conduct a counterterrorism operation and strike civilian targets on a sovereign nation's territory, on sovereign soil. Yeah. Likely Pakistan will respond in kind using cruise or ballistic missiles to strike targets inside of India proper and Indian administrative Kashmir, as India struck both inside of Pakistan proper and Pakistan administrative Kashmir. Yeah. Like, it's every country is just now doing crazy stuff. India thinks it's inside the club. India has always thought that it is inside the club. India literally assassinated. What are we talking about? India has been doing targeted assassination campaigns of what is it called? The Sikh activists that existed on Canadian soil, on sovereign soil in the Western world is completely ridiculous. Yo, Xilax with a 3,000. We're almost, oh my God, we're about to hit 200K. We can and we will. They were not civilian targets. You would understand if you lost a loved one to terrorists. I like that everyone turns into Israel the moment that it's like an issue. It doesn't matter what their perspective is. It doesn't matter how they're guided or rooted in empathy in their worldview. It literally, everyone turns into like, no, these are all terrorists, and it is what it is. Like it's perfectly permissible to conduct a military operation on foreign soil without the go-ahead of the country itself. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Even if there are actual terrorists, okay? Like straightforward, rugged terrorists that India was striking, you can't do that without permission from the sovereign nation that you're striking. And it's not just like India mirroring Israel. Everyone is doing this. Like every country is doing this. Pakistan has vowed retaliation. I don't know what that looks like yet, but the attacks that Pakistan launched in Poonch don't count. Indians aren't seeing straight. They've become bloodlust. They can't see the consequences of this. Indian cities will be attacked now. I've been jumping up and down. Oof. I don't know if Arun, maybe I'll have you on in a little bit, like later, because I'm gonna be doing something that's not like heavily political in a brief moment, you know? Look, this guy's response is, the USA conducted an operation to catch Osama bin Laden inside Pakistan. Yeah, bro, first of all, that's my point. India thinks it's doing America shit. India can't do America shit. America shouldn't be doing America shit, let alone India doing America shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, there were rules of engagement that people loosely tried to follow to the best of their ability because there was this attitude overall that stated that you can't do whatever the fuck you want. Why would a country give permission to another country to strike them? I mean, it depends. It depends on what the military action looks like. I don't think Pakistan would allow India to enter Pakistan airspace and just like strike deep into or any part of Pakistan territory. Here, let's just continue with the story for now.
Terror attack. Pakistan says dozens are dead. Ramy Inocencio has the latest on this.
Strategic U.S. partners on the brink of war again. Indian missiles overnight slammed into Pakistan-controlled territory. Delhi unleashed more after sunrise in what it called Operation Sindoor, destroying what it said were 9 terrorist campsites. Taking revenge against Pakistan for gunmen who 2 weeks ago massacred 26 people, mostly Hindu men, at a tourist hotspot here, high in the Himalayas, in the disputed Kashmir region, which both India and Pakistan claim. President Trump weighed in.
It's a shame we just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time.
The two nuclear-armed neighbors have fought 3 wars over Kashmir, killing at least 10,000 people since the 1940s. And now with dozens more dead and wounded, Bharat Mata ki! Bharat Mata ki! Indians celebrating retaliation, Pakistan claiming it downed 5 Indian aircraft and vowing more retribution. Tensions are again spiraling out between the two, fighting and dying over land.
And India is holding mock security drills today, prepping for Pakistan to launch a counterattack. These include air raid sirens, simulations for blackouts if they occur, and rehearsals for evacuation across the country. Adriana.
All right, Ramy, thank you so much.
It's what the world feared and Pakistan expected. Loud explosions filled the sky in the early hours of the morning in Pakistan's controlled territory of Kashmir. Pakistan claims people were killed, including a child, and several injured, describing the attack as a blatant act of war. India says they hit terrorist infrastructure.
I'm from India, watching from India, but they say no civilian has been killed. They have targeted terrorists. I'm totally okay with your Palestine and Israel perspective, but India never targets innocent civilians. All states target innocent civilians, okay? The notion that India doesn't target innocent civilians is fucking insane, okay? Every state targets innocent civilians. What are you talking about? Like, look at the fucking headline, dude. Pakistan officials say 26 civilians killed in attack. Are we also...
Defense Ministry released a statement saying altogether 9 sites have been targeted.
It's crazy.
Our actions have been focused, measured, and non-escalatory in nature. No Pakistani military facilities have been targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in selection of targets and methods of execution. These steps come in the wake of the barbaric Pahalgam terrorist attack, in which 25 Indians and 1 Nepali citizen was murdered. We are living up to the commitments that those responsible...
Yeah, Pakistan run health agency. Just like Hamas run health agency, I guess. Like, is this going to turn into Hindutva fascists versus like Muslims? Therefore... the Western world's attitude on it is going to be like geared towards undermining the Muslim side to be like, well, it's Pakistan. They're Muslim. Obviously, they're freaking lying, right? Like that's, I suspect that is what like the angle is going to be. Oh my Lord. I don't know why, but Mossad tweet that no aircraft is shoot down. What Mossad?
Responsible for this attack will be held accountable. Pakistan Air Defenses says they have downed Indian planes. Those claims have not been confirmed. There has been intense shelling and firing across the line of control.
A Muslim captain from India led this, so don't call this Hindu versus Muslim. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, dude, listen, I'm gonna keep it $150 with all of you guys, okay? The more you talk about it like this, the more I'm beginning to develop a level of resentment, because this is literally turning into like, this is just Indian Hasbara. Like, what the fuck? Are you gonna act like Modi is not a fucking Hindutva fascist? Like, what are we doing? Is that not the case? Like, totally separately from this situation. Like, oh, dude, it's a Muslim captain that led this. Okay, I guess. Okay, then let's just rewrite all the pogroms that have taken place. You know. Meanwhile, every single defender of these actions is basically fucking baying for blood. Baying for Muslim blood specifically. What? You're really going to ignore Pakistan's strategy of sponsoring these groups, which was actually taught to them by the USA Daddy against Soviets in Afghanistan? No. The former defense minister, I believe that was his title, openly admitted to that. Okay? Both of these countries do the exact same thing where they try to instill separatist movements.
Pakistan has a right to respond. Pakistan will respond. As I've said before, we had an apprehension that India will attack. Pakistan has never struck first, but we have the right to self-defense.
Kashmir is the crown over which the two nuclear-armed neighbors have fought several wars and are in a perpetual state of tension. These attacks can soon become a flashpoint that the world needs to be worried of its consequence.
Well, Neville joins us live now. Neville, I guess the first question is put in context for us the scale of military engagement we've seen in the last 24 hours.
Well, this is a sort of a nuclear flashpoint. Kashmir has been called that. The two nuclear-armed neighbors have had several wars over Kashmir. There's been skirmishes. There's been sort of eye-to-eye, eyeball-to-eyeball military soldiers looking at each other, and along the 740-kilometer line of control in Kashmir, there has been.
The Pakistan-based leader of a militant group has said 10 of his relatives have been killed in a missile strike by India. Doesn't attack citizens, by the way. Yeah, I know. A chatter actually linked this to me to say, no, this is confirmation that they are only striking terrorists. Ironically enough, they didn't realize that this is actually a confirmation that they're not only striking terrorists, that they're actually killing civilians. Okay? This only works if you are like, oh, well, they're relatives of militant leaders. Well, I guess they're fucking, open targeting now. Like, I guess they can do that then. You can just die. It's fine. Oh my God, my whole family is fucking calling me. What is happening? They're literally all around the planet. So they have very different, they're in different time zones. So they think that, I'm supposed to be flying right now. And they just think like I'm not live. And they don't check to see if I'm live. And they just keep calling me to be like, when are you landing? Oh my Lord. The Pakistan-based leader of a militant group has said 10 of his relatives have been killed in a missile strike by India. Masood Azhar, chief of Jaish-e-Mohammed, Jem, said his older sister and his husband, his nephew, his nephew's wife, his niece, 5 children from his family were killed in a strike on a mosque in Bahawalpur, Pakistan. India launched strikes on sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir on Tuesday night. Islamabad called the strikes a heinous act of aggression.
Firing, shelling, small arms fire since the time the attack happened on the tourists in Pahalgam on the 22nd of April. They've been continuous firing across the line of small arms fire, but now overnight we've seen these heavy shellings. India has said that a number of people have been killed and also a number of homes have been damaged in the Kupwara region. Now, we can't confirm that, but across the line as well, there's been information of damage.
Do I think China will try to interfere in a significant way? Yes. This is happening in their backyard. This is incredibly threatening to their global stability initiatives. So yes, I do think that they will try to intervene. Oh my God. Also, India plays a very important role in America's trade agenda. Okay? India is supposed to be our guys over there in terms of like a manufacturing hub that we can use as we try to get everyone else to decouple from China. Okay? Congressman wrote Khan a slam for meeting Hindutva ideologue on India visit. Analysts say Khan's meeting shows that he doesn't want to alienate the Hindu Indian diaspora vote bank in the U.S. India, BRICS starting off to a strong start. Okay, dude, calm down. Like, BRICS shit is just leverage, okay? It's weird because Pakistan also is operated by the Pakistan is in some ways also, you could consider it like maybe not a vassal state, but close to a vassal state in terms of American interest, especially its intelligence community. Like its intelligence agency is what dominates the country. So we have interests in both sides of this conflict. America is involved with both parties in this conflict. Obviously, with India, we have more, I guess we have like the manufacturing interests, and they're very important to our trade agenda because, yeah, Pakistan is basically a friendly with both America and China. It's a holdover from the Kissinger days. Yeah. It's crazy because remember when I used to joke about how like, oh, America should just arm Hamas and then also Israel, arm both sides, and you come out on top. Both sides are now buying your weapons. That's basically India versus Pakistan to some degree. You know what I mean? Like both sides are to a certain degree using our weapons against one another. Masood Azhar, the man who brought jihad to Britain. This is the guy whose family died. His family got wiped out. Masood Azhar today heads one of Pakistan's most violent militant groups, was once the VIP guest of Britain's leading Islamic scholars. He's, I don't know where he is, but I suspect that regardless of his like fundamentalist attitudes or whatever, you probably shouldn't be able to wipe out his entire family at a mosque, considering that, you know, this is just his family. There's children. That's insane. Like what, how do we decide that this is an appropriate military target? Like what is going on? This used to be a big fucking deal, man. This used to be a big deal when America would flub a military operation because they killed like a bunch of family members. And now the metrics are all out of whack where it's like, yeah, you could strike a mosque, kill an entire family. It's good. You call them terrorists and move on. What the fuck? Also, it's not just a Hindutva fascist thing, to be fair, because I feel like, I mean, I read a report from the Communist Party, and they also authorized this this military strike. And I thought those guys were at least supposed to be a little bit more critical, even though Arun had told me that they were not. And they certainly were not critical about this this counterterrorism military operation. You know, don't get me started on CPIM. Yeah. India launched strikes on sites in Pakistan and Pakistan administered Kashmir on Tuesday night. Islamabad called the strikes. We already covered that. China said they support Pakistan. Pakistan is their only escape if they get besieged in the sea. The main reason the West is all over India is because they want to use India to fight China. I think so too. If I'm going to look at it from a reductive perspective and like look at what America's interests are, America is America is looking at the situation and looking at the instability in the region, and I assume thinking about this instability is not necessarily really that bad because it causes fear for China in its own backyard. Long before any of this, CPIM was throwing out people of the party for disagreeing with India committing war crimes against Tamils
and killing of civilians. Now, it has been escalating, this tension between the two countries after the killing of the 26 people in Pahalgam on the 22nd of April. And since then, the country here is angry. They have been asking for some sort of revenge, and we've heard from Prime Minister Modi in several of his public statements saying that the perpetrators of that horrendous attack will be punished, and their backers, and they will be sought till the ends of the earth, and they will be punished. And we've seen that happening, in sort of the retaliation coming overnight in the Kashmir region. The difference this time from the 2019 surgical strikes in Balakot in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which India had conducted, this time there has been a bit more not only in the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, but also across the international border, which makes it even more dangerous now. The attacks have taken place in sovereign Pakistan. And therefore the sort of the toning up of this escalation is quite high. We understand there's going to be a press briefing very soon by the Indian Defence Ministry, which further details of this. But at the moment, the tension's very high between the two countries. Just a few minutes ago, the Foreign Minister of India has put out a statement on X saying the world must show zero tolerance for terrorism, and this is what India has been talking about. The terrorist launch pads and their sympathizers and terrorists will be brought to account.
Just received confirmed reports that India has attacked civilian targets, including a mosque and residential accommodation on 5 locations in Pakistan. And as per the initial report,
chatters that keep saying this is like Israel versus Gaza. It's not. And this is not Israel versus Israel either. This is like Israel versus Iran, except Pakistan's involvement is loosely identified, even though there is historical reference to jihadist elements or Salafist elements like growing in and getting training inside of Pakistani borders as a direct consequence of America's interest in the region, specifically in Afghanistan and elsewhere. But this would be closer to Israel versus Iran rather than Israel versus Israel or Israel versus Gaza. Okay? So in reductive terms, it's an infinitely more terrifying prospect considering that these are both nuclear powers. Okay? It's not even Israel versus Iran because Iran has a more direct line for logistics and training for all of the militancy against Israel and against the United States of America in the region, as opposed to Pakistan literally trained Islamist militants and killed the leftist movement in Kashmir. That's why the Kashmir military groups are right-wing fundamentalists. Yeah, it's an describing things to Americans. Imagine the few countries you know. Yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna start using burger analogies in a second too. Okay. Why would India do this? It's partially because from their perspective, okay, one, obviously they have a lot of smoke for Pakistan in general, but from their perspective, they look at Pakistan as a unlimited training ground for separatist movements and fundamentalist movements that can get involved in militancy and then sometimes engage in direct attacks inside of India, or as it happened this time around, Indian administered Kashmir, or in Kashmir specifically, where there was a heinous attack directly on tourists of Indian descent. I can't explain it in burgers. I can't. Putting the context of Israel or Iran here doesn't make sense. I don't know why people feel the need to constantly put things in the third world in terms of popular in the first world. Well, that's how analogies work. You have to use an example that's like closer to people's understanding, considering they don't know anything about India or Pakistan. Anyway.
There are casualties, including women and children. The detailed damage assessment is being done, and Pakistan has a right to respond. Pakistan will respond. As I've said before, we had an apprehension that India will attack. Pakistan has never struck first, but we have the right to self-defense. and the way civilians have been targeted.
Like, from what I understand, this attack happens in Kashmir. The Pakistan position is that they condemn it, okay? But India is like, it doesn't matter if you condemn it or not. You're fucking training these guys. We demand blood. India moves on and actually strikes both in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, Pakistan-controlled Kashmir territory, and then also inside of Pakistan, which is a severe escalation. And now Pakistan's like, well, what the fuck was that? Like, you just striking inside of Pakistan territory, like that's, ridiculous. So now they will most likely also retaliate. India claims that their retaliation was actually restrained. Let's see what happens if Pakistan returns the favor in a similar measure.
And I have pictures and images of women and children who are badly injured in hospital. So civilian localities, accommodations, and a mosque which has been attacked. There were no terrorist camps. I myself took foreign journalists and local journalists to an area near the line of control where India had alleged that there are terrorist camps. You see, we are the frontline state against terrorists. How can we...
I'm just going to pick up on a couple of points, Mr. Atullah Tarar. You said that you've already received...
I just said nothing's going to happen? No, that's not what I said. I said I don't know what's going to happen.
Images of women and children who have been injured. This attack took place roughly about an hour or so ago. Will you be taking international and local journalists to the sites? Because in the past, when Pakistan has made such claims...
Holy fuck, this interview has 4.3 million views in 18 hours.
They haven't allowed any journalists...
I'll stop you right there. I had planned to take them tomorrow morning. We had a plane ready. We had reached out to journalists. We had a confirmed itinerary, a confirmed plan to go to Bahawalpur tomorrow. And I was supposed to fly to Bahawalpur at 7 a.m. in the morning. And at around right after midnight, India has carried out these attacks. So we were going to Muridke, we were going to Bahawalpur, and we were taking 35 journalists with us, including foreign and local journalists. So I was just preparing for the visit tomorrow. As I had visited the LOC, we were going to Bahawalpur and we had to visit this exact place. And the journalists were already ready for the journey. So I think this has been a very, very, unfortunate step by India. We condemn it. We are responding. But to target civilian population, it's extremely unfortunate. And it's
just
very,
to point out, Minister, the Indian armed forces say that altogether 9 sites have been targeted, that they haven't hit any Pakistani military facilities. These are terrorist camps that they are hitting.
Let me make it very clear. There are no terrorist camps in Pakistan. Pakistan is a victim of terrorism. We are fighting the terrorists in our western regions, on our western borders. We are the frontline state against terrorism. We've laid down 90,000 lives in this war against terrorism. India, on the other hand, when we had the Jafar Express hijacking, an intense hijacking incident, India did not even condemn it, let alone express some concern about that incident. So India has been sponsoring terrorism by assassinating Sikhs in US, in Canada, in Australia. We captured a spy by the name of Kulbhushan Yadav, who's a commissioned naval officer.
Can I just point out to you, on my program just a week ago, your defense minister, Khwaja Asif, admitted that Pakistan has for decades had a policy of funding, backing and using terrorist groups as proxies in the country. In fact, in 2018, President Donald Trump cut military aid to Pakistan because he accused Pakistan of playing a double game. So when you say there are no terrorist camps in Pakistan, that is going against what General Pervez Musharraf has said, what Benazir Bhutto has said, what your defense minister said just a week ago. In fact, what Bilawal Bhutto said to me a few days ago, he said that terrorism and funding and backing terrorist organizations has been and was part of Pakistan's history.
Post 9/11, let's talk about post 9/11 scenario. And let me be very clear. Post 9/11, Pakistan was the frontline state, and we still are the frontline state in eliminating terrorism. You see, when we are the guarantors of world peace, because we are a wall between the terrorists and the rest of the world. I would like to invite you to Pakistan to come and see the circumstances.
I have been to Pakistan, sir, and we know that Osama bin Laden was also discovered in Abbottabad in Pakistan. So these accusations on Pakistan, including your defense minister making the admission, is there. And that is why part of the reason...
What the defense minister was referring to, I think he's been misinterpreted. You see, there was a Soviet invasion back in the 80s, and obviously we were countering the Soviet invasion at that point in time. That's part of history. And we were allies of the US. So post 9/11, the scenario changed completely. And Pakistan made a lot of sacrifices. Pakistan is still laying down lives against terrorists. Even today in Balochistan, there was a terrorist attack. We lost 7 soldiers. So you see Pakistani politicians, Pakistani soldiers, Pakistani officers, Pakistan...
Defense Ministry has said they're ready for an all-out war. Oh, fuck. As an Indian that agrees with your take, what do you think in your eyes is the best way for India to handle this conflict? I don't know. I don't know, but it's definitely not escalation. It revolves around de-escalation. It's always de-escalation. India is a huge supporter of Russia and buys Russian oil and buys majority of its weapons from Russia. No, I know. India is in a very interesting place where it's a mediator for it's basically like a holdover state for as a Russian proxy, as a holdover state for Russian goods to flow into and Russian energy to flow into the rest of the world. And they're also simultaneously a very valuable nation state for manufacturing for Western interests, especially if Western interests, as Donald Trump has stated, is to remove ties. Is to remove ties from China, is to remove the rest of the world and the global partnerships that have developed over the free trade agreements that have perpetuated in the past couple of decades to reverse their decisions and to move away from China. If you want to move away from China, you have to go to India. The ball isn't in India's court right now. It's in Pakistan's at the moment. As far as I know, Pakistan hasn't properly responded yet, and it seems like Pakistan has absolutely vowed retaliation. Yeah. I don't know enough about Pakistan military history. I don't know enough about Indian military history. Like, this is not an area of expertise of mine. I'm the first to readily admit this. I mean, I know about militant training inside of Pakistan. I know about separatist groups that India also trains as well. And I'm familiar with that stuff, but I don't know how restrained Pakistan will be. I don't know how restrained India will be. I don't know what I don't know what the accurate historical references that I can point to say, this is how they've operated in the past. This is how they will operate in the future. To make these sorts of speculations, I don't know how the conflict could get resolved in this situation. Like, people are talking about how Pakistan has already retaliated by breaching LOC and killing civilians in the Poonch district. I haven't seen the information coming out of that yet, but I suspect that will not be considered the retaliation. I suspect the retaliation will be a similar airstrike. Like what India did, Pakistan will most likely do to the best of their ability to India, which is crazy, especially because these are, I'm going to stress the importance of this, these are both nuclear armed nations. Okay? Learn the history on stream at a later date. No, I mean, I will definitely do more reading on this matter. And try to develop a better understanding of it, considering that this is obviously going to be a serious...
For 2 weeks, India had been...
This is obviously going to be a serious point of contention coming up.
Promising retaliation for a deadly attack on Indian civilians. When it came overnight, it was the largest series of airstrikes carried out in decades. 3 people killed here in Muzaffarabad, in Pakistani-controlled Kashmir.
It's not like a you hit me, so I hit you type situation either, though, because India's argument in this situation is that the terror attack that took place in Kashmir, that was directly because of Pakistan. And as far as I understand, they have not shown They have not shown like any sort of direct evidence as to, like, the only evidence that they have in this interview, as he's trying to draw out of this dude, is that Pakistan has historically armed Mujahideen, and they've admitted to that as well. Like on this program on Sky News, former defense minister, I think he was a former defense minister, like openly admitted to it. But he was also talking specifically about America's interests and how this is like the arming and the funding and the training of fundamentalist groups was done at the behest of the United States of America. And I don't know if he was trying to point to that last week or 2 weeks ago at this point, to say this is happening with the approval of the United States of America. Do you see what I'm saying? This was the very important moment that took place. This was a major fucking major moment.
You do admit, sir, that Pakistan has had a long history of backing and supporting and training and funding these terrorist organizations.
Well, we have been doing this dirty work for the United States for about 3 decades, you know, and West, including Britain.
So
yeah, he says, he basically says, like, we've been doing this for you guys. So I don't know if he actually, it's not that crazy to admit that. It's, first of all, total and utter vindication once again. If you recall, this is for the blowback understanders, for the blowback enjoyers, blowback podcasts and blowback as a concept in general, this is what he's talking about. Okay, it's just the truth. But as it pertains to this current situation, I don't know if he's saying that to just talk about the hypocrisy of the Western world, or if he's simply trying to point to the fact that this was not done. This was done with Western supervision, if that makes sense. Or if he's simply abdicating responsibility away from the hands of Pakistan to say, what do you expect was going to happen? You made us train these fundamentalist elements in the region, and now they're, running rampant. There's multiple different directions that he could be going with that revelation, right? Direction number one would be to imply that this was done with Western oversight, that this attack was conducted not with Pakistani oversight and Pakistani directive, but instead with Western oversight. Another direction this could, another thing he could be mentioning is that like the Western world made us train these people, made us do their dirty work for decades, and now they're running rampant again to abdicate responsibility away from Pakistan in this regard. Those are the two different directions that I suspect he was going with. There's China and what their interests are in terms of stability in the region. There's America and what their interests are in terms of stability in the region. So I am certainly confused as to where this will go. But here is drop site news. Pakistan claims to have shot down 5 Indian warplanes and one Israeli-built reconnaissance drone during retaliatory air combat. 3 Dassault Rafale fighters, 1 Sukhoi Su-30 MKI, 1 Mikoyan MiG-29, 1 Israeli-built IAI Haran reconnaissance drone. French intelligence sources have confirmed to CNN that at least 1 Rafale fighter jet was lost in combat. The officials added that France is still investigating the other possible losses of the advanced jet produced by French defense manufacturer Dassault Aviation during the fighting on May 6. India confirmed that 3 aircraft crashed within Indian territory and that 3 pilots were injured, but has not confirmed all Pakistani claims, including drone loss. Wreckage of the French Mika air-to-air missile was found near Bathinda Air Force Station in India, indicating intense aerial combat. Pakistani Defense Minister Khawaja Asif said that the country was preparing for an all-out war on Wednesday, raising the possibility of nuclear escalation, while adding that Islamabad still hoped to find an off-ramp to the conflict with New Delhi that began with a militant attack on civilians in the disputed region of Kashmir last month. Video scattered debris purportedly of an Indian Air Force Rafale and Mika launcher used for firing short-range air-to-air missiles in Bathinda, India. Can't even hit Pakistan without losing your Jezla mount. I mean, dude, come on. They also have a competent military and, you know, surface-to-air missile systems. Yeah, this is state versus state. It's a little different. I think we've gotten too used to, like, America, the most powerful military on the planet, lasering fucking dudes in sandals, and too used to Israel, backed by the most powerful force on the planet, lasering fucking entire families inside of mosques and hospitals and shit, where, yes, when you actually engage in state versus state combat, it looks a little different. This is even scarier to some degree than like Ukraine, which is operating as a U.S. proxy in this regard against Russia, which is unjustifiably invading Ukraine. Ukraine has a lot of limitations in terms of what kind of defenses they can implement against Russia, because America has consistently told them what they can and can't do, right? So this is like, even with Ukraine versus Russia, when you look at a competent standing military in Ukraine and the amount of penalties that the Russian forces will incur in the process, now think about like no holds barred Air Force versus Air Force, surface to air missile systems that are not locked into like what their strike priorities look like, what the range of usage looks like by the United States of America, because Pakistan doesn't have those limitations in the same way that Ukraine did, for example. There's evidence that it was Chinese air-to-air missiles fired by Pakistan that shot down the Indian jets. Confirmed, Pakistan used Chinese long-range air-to-air missile PL-15E against India. Parts of the missile fell in Hoshiarpur, Punjab, India. Photo first and second provided by Indian media. The PL-15 has a range of 200 to 300 kilometers for domestic version and about 145 kilometers for the export variant used by Pakistan. It reaches speeds over Mach 5 using a dual-pulsed solid propellant rocket motor and features advanced guidance with an active electronically scanned array, radar seeker, and mid-course data link support. The PL-15 is a cutting-edge missile that significantly boosts Pakistan's beyond visual range air combat capability. Chinese stocks rose sharply after display of apparent efficacy in India-Pakistan aerial confrontation. Pakistan and China jointly produced several aircraft. To be honest, regardless of the aircrafts, Pakistani pilots were always really good. During the Arab-Israeli wars, Bangladeshi and Pakistani pilots shot down several Israeli jets. Very underrated force. I've heard this as well. It feels like it will likely be a minor scrape-up. There's not rationale for true war that I've seen. What exactly is non-negotiable between the two? Seems like India just needed to send a strong message to their citizens, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it does make me feel like there is one party here that actively wants this to be Modi took a popularity hit in the last election, as we covered extensively. And when you are a authoritarian strongman and your common enemy is Muslims inside of your own boundary and Muslims all around, and you are a Hindutva fascist, a supremacist of sorts, then yeah, making this or wanting to turn this into like this is what Pakistan did. This is definitely Pakistan's doing. We have to do everything in our power to, you know, hit back with major force. It feels like that there is an escalation coming from one side as opposed to the other. It's terrifying. And what's worse is there's unfortunately a lot of warmongering right now in India leading up to this. And now there's warmongering out of Pakistan as well. Indians are not understanding the implication of India attacking Bahawalpur or Sialkot at all. Is Pakistan the main aggressor here? Well, if you think that the fundamentalist groups that did this attack are directly operating under the Pakistani directive, something that the Indian government has not presented enough verifiable evidence on thus far, then this is Pakistan hitting first and then India striking back. But so far, I don't think that is confirmed. Like the fact that they struck inside of it's like if Pakistan airstruck the Taj Mahal in Agra. Like the fact that they struck inside of Pakistan is an escalation for sure. Like it moves the conflict beyond occupied Kashmir territory. That is in my opinion, that is a severe escalation. And this is the Pakistani defense minister responding to what they will do, vowing revenge.
At this point, I mean, is further conflict on the horizon? Are you concerned about a direct conflict, a war at this point?
Yeah, there is a possibility of this conflict, expansion of this conflict into a full-fledged war, which we are trying to avoid. But last night, they crossed the international boundary. We have working boundary, international boundary, and control line. So the other two are, they involve disputed territories. But crossing the international boundary, this is the clear-cut violation and invitation to expand the conflict, and maybe, convert it into something much more wider and much.
So for the record, also, this isn't like a good dude either. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and be like the Pakistan position here is the appropriate one, correct one. I'm not saying that either. Before people freak the fuck out, it's just that India has escalated. That is just a fact. India escalated and brought the conflict into Pakistan borders beyond occupied Kashmir territory, and in doing so severely escalated this conflict. And they did it without revealing any, as far as I've seen, and I might be wrong, but I don't know if they have like verifiable, confirmed evidence as to a direct involvement from Pakistan beyond saying, well, these guys train inside of Pakistan's boundaries, and that Pakistan lets these dudes loose on Indian territory. Does that make sense? Of the 9 Indian airstrikes conducted in Pakistan earlier today, 8 targets were revealed in India's official press release. These locations have since been geolocated and mapped in visual, providing an insight into the cross-border operation. Asmin is saying India is right, too based. Well, that's not surprising. India just started investigating after attacking Pakistan. NIA, the National Investigation Agency of India, appeals to people to share information on the Pahalgam terror attack, releases phone numbers. The fuck? Bro, you're supposed to do this. You are a terrorist for supporting Pakistan. I feel like you're supposed to do this before you decide to... You are clearly one-siding this. You are not acknowledging the fact that Pakistan has harbored terrorists for years in this attack on those camps. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that isn't happening at all. What are you talking about? That's the only thing I do know about the history of Pakistan is specifically that. What you're talking about, what you claim to, what you act like I am not acknowledging. I am acknowledging that. That's some of the few things that I do know about the history of Pakistan is specifically that, because of my interest in Pakistan being almost entirely about American involvement in Pakistan. That's some of the few things that I know about Pakistan. His chat is shitting on both sides because both are brown. I've seen some saying Allahu Akbar when Indians are on screen. I feel like that's going to be an interesting take. That's going to be an interesting takeaway from a group of individuals that don't know anything and don't really care to understand it. And they're just like, lol, but we hate both sides. I guess we'll fall on the side where, whoever's against the Muslims, I guess we hate less.
India said it was targeting terror camps.
They attacked innocent, unarmed civilians. There is no truth to their claims. There were no such activities here. We live here. We've never seen anything like that. They just did this to spread fear and assert their aggression.
India says it hit 9 terror-related targets, that it showed restraint by avoiding military and civilian sites. But Indian missiles struck deep into Pakistan itself, well beyond Pakistani-controlled Kashmir. This was Bahawalpur, where India said it hit a compound belonging to the militant group Jaish-e-Mohammed. Another destroyed mosque in Muridka, where India said it struck the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba, another group fighting Indian control in Kashmir.
These actions were measured, non-escalatory, proportionate, and responsible. They focused on dismantling the terrorist infrastructure and disabling terrorists likely to be sent across.
Bombing a religious site first day is insane, brother. India does that inside of its own borders too, so that's not... Let me tell you something, okay? That's a favored classic for Modi, so it's like, you can't really... That's a thing he's gonna do.
To India.
Yeah.
But with burials
India has done that to its own Muslim population inside of its own borders. So it's not shocking to me that they would do so in Pakistan as well. So, you know, at least I know about that.
Taking place today after the strikes in Pakistan's Punjab, the heartland of its powerful military, India has delivered a blow to which Pakistan is promising a commensurate response, at a time and of a means, it says, of its choosing. At the same time, it is already claiming a win, saying Pakistani planes shot down 5 Indian military jets inside their own airspace.
The Pakistan Air Force was on full alert, and our jets did not cross the borders of Pakistan. As soon as the Indian planes released their payloads, suddenly our Air Force pilots swooped down on them and shot 5 of their planes, including 3 Rafale jets, and they fell in Indian-controlled Kashmir.
The two armies also exchanged artillery fire across the line of control in Kashmir. As many as 13 Indian civilians reported killed, along with at least 6 people on the Pakistani side of the de facto border. This major escalation in a decades-long conflict, catalyzed by the gun attack last month that killed 25 Indians and 1 Nepali national at a beauty spot in Indian-administered Kashmir. India's right-wing nationalist Prime Minister Narendra Modi shown in muted images addressing his cabinet today. Here's the task: steering this nation through the most serious escalation.
Bro, some Hindutva YouTubers are going to be obsessed with you now. Oh, God damn it. I'm sorry. India #1, please don't come after me, please. India #1, no one else is even #2. It's #1, please. Please. Oh my God. I'm going to get fucking, I'm collecting enemies from virtually every country and every group of right-wing reactionary, literally everywhere around the planet. You know, I'm just catching smoke globally.
In years with its rival nuclear power. Mirror images in Islamabad. Shahbaz Sharif with his grim-faced national security team, both India and Pakistan fielding international calls for restraint and de-escalation. Both sides also aware of the domestic demand for action and strength.
I wonder if they'll post this and be like, this is anti-Indian racism. They'll be like, these guys are engaging in heinous anti-Indian racism to hit the Israel line. You know what I mean?
Protesters in Karachi today calling for retaliation against India.
You don't understand the numbers. You think Americans are dumb. Think 3 times the population in India will come after you. No, I know. I know.
And across India, civil defense drills in preparation for a possible attack. The likelihood is that a further Pakistani response would be against Indian military targets. The task for both countries now, delicate calibration of blunt military might, enough for deterrence and national pride, stopping short of full-scale war, the region entering a period of genuine jeopardy.
Well, earlier I spoke to Tuhin Sinha, spokesman for the BJP, that's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party, and I asked what he thought India's strikes had achieved.
Well, ideally, it was the responsibility of Pakistan to take the kind of action that we did. It's a shame. Pakistan today is a global embarrassment. The fact that we had to enter another country and act against terrorists who had been given a free run shows that Pakistan was complicit in encouraging these terror activities, and which is a point we have consistently been making to the entire world.
Don't you think India needs to provide the evidence that the Pakistan government was complicit, which it hasn't provided yet in the last 2 weeks?
It doesn't matter. From the last 3 decades, this is not the only attack which has been sponsored by Pakistan. 2008, there was direct complicity. What did Pakistan do? Did Pakistan even try to address the issues we had raised?
Yes, but do you think evidence needs to be provided?
We have given.
It doesn't matter is crazy. Like, I'm sorry. You have not provided evidence for the complicity of the Pakistani government. And his response is, it doesn't matter. That is fucking insane. Please, chatters. Maybe it's an ESL thing. First of all, no, he is very competent with the English language. What are you talking about? Okay. Like, no, he is actively going, nah, don't care. There's plenty of evidence. There's plenty of evidence in my mind, and that's it. It is also shocking that the ruling the ruling party's attitude to crossing a severe boundary. Welcome to India, Hasan. Our politics is somehow more cooked than Turkey's politics. That is an incredible thing to just openly admit in the Western media too. Like, this shit probably plays well on like the Indian version of Fox News. You can be baying for blood like this, but going on like you're not Israel. Okay, I need to explain something to you. BJP, you are not Israel. You don't have a sophisticated network of propaganda and NGOs that you have designed after looking at the failures of the South African apartheid and have created like this incredible propaganda machine in an effort to basically go on and say, of course you're going to give us all the weapons and all the money, and we're going to keep killing fucking terrorists because, you know, it is what it is. We're fighting a war against evil here. You don't get to do that. You can't do that. Here, I'll give you a great example. Okay, Israel in the United States of America, Israeli groups are not considered. They're not. They don't have to register as foreign agents. Okay, pro-Israel groups do not register as foreign agents, whereas pro-Indian groups are registered as foreign agents. That distinction should be very clarifying. That distinction in and of itself should be incredibly revealing. If you think that you can get away with saying stuff like this in the Western world, you can't. But I don't know. Maybe the appetite that people have, for death and destruction, where the receiving end of the militancy or the receiving end of violent acts and severe escalations is Muslim, so maybe they'll go along with it. I don't know.